Hello, good morning, happy Thursday. So, today I actually really wanted to just kind of talk about a nice little lesson I had to relearn, be reminded of, however you want to phrase it, because I totally fell back into my old habits. And so I just want to put this reminder out there of just how incredibly easy it is to do. Like, we're all human, we all make mistakes, we all get stressed, la la la, like life happens. And so it can be easy to fall back into old habits. That was our comfort zone. However, like, I don't know about you guys, I was overwhelmed for, oh my goodness, I'm going to say probably 10, 15 years, somewhere in there, like at least a decade. I was living in that overwhelm. And it really is, you have to think, you lived in that state of survival, that state of like the endless noise and chaos and drama, and your mind never shutting off and always having to go, go, go and do. That's that was literally our comfort zone, because we didn't know how to deal with it. We do, I mean, now, but when you're in that state, you don't know what to do. You don't have the tools. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that state, right? And so we learn how to survive in that state. And then because we learn what to do living in that, overwhelm, stress, high anxiety, all of those things, and over, weeks, months, years, it becomes our comfort zone because it's what we've learned to do, right? It's what we know. It doesn't make it right. I mean, just really think about that too. Just because it's what we know and it's what we're used to doesn't make it right. Similarly, if you've been the person, I know in Canada, unfortunately, we still have places, I want to say close to the somewhere Manitoba, I think southern Manitoba, but we still have places that do not have access to clean drinking water. So whatever, they have to truck the water in, they have to boil things, they have to adjust. They can't just, turn on the taps and cook. So they have learned to adjust and live in this place that does not have clean water. That doesn't make it right. They know how to survive, they know how to live, they know what to do. They've accommodated for it, but that doesn't mean it's the right way to actually live, right? So just keep that in mind. Because the other thing I see, and I posted a lot on Facebook about this, is people just thinking, oh, well, I'm stressed and this is my life. And, I've kind of tried to do stuff about it, but nothing's really been successful. Oh, this must just be how it is. Or you talk to 3 or 4 of your friends and everybody else is stressed out. Oh, that's just life. That's just how it is. We can't do anything about it. No, that's how we've been conditioned. That's how society progressively has led us to this place of overwhelm. It's that hustle, 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 go, go, go. Now, I've talked about it before. I don't know if you've actually seen one of my episodes or videos where I do talk about it. And I 100% believe Western society is actually quite toxic. We we have all the amenities, we have all the luxuries, we are very spoiled as a society. We are first world, right? That's the joke. First world problems, right? But in having all that excess and being spoiled and having it all, we always strive for more. That is also human nature, to always strive for more, to do more, to get more. That's just kind of, in our DNA, that's human nature. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve more as long as we're still grateful for what we have. So the formula of that is, you love what you have, you're happy and you're content with what you have, but you still would like more. Not that you need more, not that you're upset you don't have more. You're perfectly content if you never get more. You are 100% content and happy with what you have. but we still strive for more. Now, also, I do want to say when I say more, I'm not talking about stuff necessarily, because again, in Western society, when we think of more, we think of stuff. That's what comes to my mind. Material things, bigger houses, bigger cars, whatever it is. That's jewelry. But just because you want to achieve more could be, I want to, I help people with their stress and anxiety, right? I help them live a better quality of life. I help them see that they don't have to hate their life. They don't have to be, unhappy all the time. You can have happiness. You can live a fulfilled, enjoyable life just with what you have in the environment you have, with just, mindset changes, adjustments, getting rid of that stress and anxiety, all of those things. So I strive to improve people's quality of lives, right? To allow them to be happy, to allow them to actually enjoy their life again, because that's stress and anxiety robs us of that enjoyment. It doesn't allow us to be happy. So my more would be, maybe creating more programs, finding new platforms, reaching new people. Maybe I'll, do retreats. I'd love to do retreats one day where I help more people. I reach more people. I'm affecting more people's lives in a positive way that they can in turn affect people in their lives in that positive way. And we get that ripple effect, of really just really affecting that positive change and pulling everyone out of that negativity. So for me, the more can just be giving more, and even similarly, where if we do go in the money, like we all love money, we all want to make money. And for most of us, we all want to make more money. Again, I feel like it's something we're just kind of raised to want to do. But in trying to strive for more, again, the motive could be, I'd love to earn more money because I really want to support. In Alberta, we have Scars and Barks. They are rescue, dog rescue. Actually, I think Scars does cats too, but they're animal rescue. We have this wonderful horse rescue. I can't remember what it's called in Alberta also. All these organizations that, for my Canadians, you will probably know this, but for everyone else who did not follow, Canadian winters, we have had some really hard winters of literally minus 40 Celsius without any wind chills. And so the wind chills have been minus 50, minus 55 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Cold AF. That's what that is. And your skin freezes in, I think it's like 30 seconds if it's exposed or something. It's like disgusting. It's like the Arctic. And in some of those years where we've had the really tough winters, we've also had really bad crop seasons, and there hasn't been enough hay for the animals, for the livestock. So they've had to go out of province to, haul in and truck in feed to keep, cattle and horses alive, like literally just to keep them alive. Some of the farmers struggling to, they have heaters in the water to make sure the animals have fresh water, but you have to heat it because it gets so cold that even these heating coils stop functioning properly. So there's all this extra money that it really takes. And when you don't have a good crop season and you literally have to buy hay, I can't remember what the price was, but it was like nobody could afford that. It was like $800 for like a bale of hay or something, which might have lasted, I don't know, like a couple of days to a week, depending how many animals you had. So you're spending thousands upon thousands, and probably depending how long the cold snap lasts, tens of thousands of dollars that you didn't expect to have. And especially as a farmer, if with that poor crop season, you didn't make the money you wanted. So all these wonderful organizations that are out there just to rescue animals, to help them, to give back to people, to give back to the farmers, just to literally keep things and people alive. Same with like the Bissell centers. I know food banks in Canada, years since COVID, since everything got shut down. And I'm sorry, I don't know what your take on it, but I'm going to say when they shut everything down, that was the start of the ruining of the economy. They ruined our economy in Canada. I don't know about everyone else. And since the shutdowns of COVID, our food banks have been running on dry ever since. It is terrible. There are literal people that, they go to the food bank and there's no food left. That should not be a thing in a first world country where you need to go to the first food bank. First of all, it's terrible, but there's no food in the food bank because no one can afford to give. So again, it's that, I'd love to make more money so I can give to all these charities and places and do that better. That can be your more. It doesn't have to be like, we don't want it to be, I want to make more because I need more bling. Like, that's kind of vapid and selfish and not something to really strive for. But my point is, just because you want more doesn't make it a bad thing. It's just, what do you want to do with that more? What does that more look like? So, perfectly happy and content, you're loving life. If you never got more, that's okay. But we still aim for more. And so, I just really want to talk about getting back. I know I get way off on tangents because I'm like, oh, this is an important point. This is an important point. And I always have lots of important points. And I'm female, so we all have those stories that take an hour to get to the point. So I kind of apologize, but I don't, because that's just me. And I try and rein it in, but it doesn't always happen, obviously. So my point for this, though, is we always want that more. And we're born and raised, to go get, and we've heard this from the start. This is a mindset I had to go over. Work harder. The harder you work, the more you get, which is a blatant lie, because how many people do you know that work their little fingers to the bone? They're breaking their backs at work, they're pulling overtime, and they're not getting ahead. So this, if you work harder, you'll get more, is a big fat lie. Like, we really need to stop. If you have ever said this, please stop saying this. We're just teaching our kids that no matter where they are in life, it's because they're not working hard enough, even if they're working themselves to death. And we need to stop this lie. So it's all about working smarter, working better, getting creative, right? We've all heard that, work smarter, not harder. That's the key, getting creative about things. And so we really have to think and be aware of all of this, because again, we're, taught that we need to take care of all this stuff, then we need to work harder, then we need to expand, we need to do bigger, we need to do better. We have all these luxuries as the first world places. And so it's, what are we aiming? And we always have to have that more factor. And we get caught up in that and we lose sight of how much are we doing. We get in that overwhelm, we get stressed. And here we are as a whole society, completely stressed out. The whole freaking country is overwhelmed, high anxiety, high stress. Everyone's medicated on something. Like, you can't tell me this is normal. Having 70% of your population medicated because they can't deal with life, not normal, not normal. So I don't care how many of your friends, because I was in that trap also. Like, I was in the overwhelm, I was in the stress, and you talk to everybody and everyone's the same, and you're like, okay, it's not just me. That's just how life is. I thought that one day also, until I hit my version of rock bottom, where I was like, this can't possibly be it. I cannot continue like this. This can't be how life is. It can't. And it isn't. And it hasn't been ever since. But the point, again, I'm making a lot of points. I'm going to pick a new word. Just because everyone is doing it or it seems normal does not make it so. It is not. It's become the comfort zone. It's become what we know. We inadvertently teach our kids this. They get it from us because children mimic us, and we grow up in this state. We literally grow up in the state of hustle and overwhelm. And here we are today, right? Now, having said that, I think back and it's like, okay, well, could I have been in this state of overwhelm for literally pretty much my whole life? I don't think so. I had a pretty chill childhood, but I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. So we didn't have cell phones. We literally went outside, rode our bikes, and came back for food. That was our childhood. Our parents had no idea where we were. If we came back too soon, it'd be like, oh, what are you doing home? Like, our parents were like, go, be lost somewhere, right? So maybe it started in high school, college for sure. But I think childhood was pretty easy peasy. But for people younger than me, that generation that was raised on cell phone, raised to compare yourself, having all that information and all those influencers started popping up, just comparing yourself. I had to deal with magazine ads and commercials on TV, but when you're seeing this stuff 24/7 all day long, that's a whole new level of stress. So a lot of people out there are literally since childhood high stress, high anxiety, and boom, into the overwhelm. So, especially if you're someone like that who got raised in this sort of environment, you literally don't really know any differently. You have nothing to kind of look back on. I did have a chill childhood where I can think back, like, God, yeah, life was simple, right? So, I can strive for something. Whereas, you have to learn something completely brand new, which is a little, yeah, it's a little bit extra. But it can be done because we can all learn new things, period. So, getting to my original point, what are we, 15 minutes in? Oh my goodness, I'm such a talker today. I apologize. Is that I fell into my old stress trap and gave myself a cold. Yesterday, I was pretty sick, couldn't even really breathe through my nose. Thankfully, it's just a cold. I don't actually feel necessarily like I'm not on the couch dying or anything, but the congestion, the like, ooh, my face feels like it might pop off of my head type of thing. And what it was so my boyfriend went to Canada, and so I'm kind of doing the single mom here as my cat is literally eating a gecko right now. That is disgusting. Okay. And I don't mind taking care of, living life myself. Boyfriend's in Canada. I am fine with all that. I'm very independent. I have no problem doing all the things. Most of us don't. But what the extras are is my lovely big dog. Love him to pieces, Tuco. Um, he has vertebra in his low back that are fusing together, and they sometimes, depending on inflammation, will pinch off his nerves to his hips and his back legs. And so he does have trouble walking, and he needs his legs loosened up. The muscles get quite tense, so he needs regular massages to keep those loose. He needs exercise, a little bit of physio. If he lays around too much, things tend to seize up, and he has trouble. It's like an old man. He has trouble walking off the first start. We have to loosen him up. And then on top of that, he also gets, it's literally called old dog syndrome. And it's basically this form of vertigo. If he gets too much inflammation, thankfully, usually only happens when it's hot, which it's not right now. But he does get vertigo, and his eyes go all where they shake and go back and forth. So sometimes, if he's feeling a little off balance, especially with his back legs, may or may not be working properly, I also have to help him eat sometimes if he's feeling wobbly. And then on top of that, he is like most Canadian dogs suffering from yeast. And so he started with the ears, of course, but now he has it all over since we moved to Mexico. Tropical environment, humid and warm. The yeast has it's all over. It is definitely a problem. So as he's currently rubbing his face all over the floor, scratching himself. He is very itchy. So he gets, every second day he gets a bath. He's on powders right now. And when he itches and scratches, I have to go over and hotspot him. So he's a very high maintenance, I was going to say little guy, but he's like 85 pounds. So he's a very high maintenance big guy. Love him to pieces. And of course, I have to help him up and down the stairs because we don't know if his back legs are going to make it all the way with the nerve pinching and the muscle cramping and stuff. And he's been having the old 2 a.m. peas sometimes now. So I have to help him down the stairs to the back door, wait for him, help him back up the stairs. Oh, yeah, the joys of having the senior dogs, which is, again, I'm fine with all this. I've done it before. I'm good with it. I love my schedules. I have my flow. I'm good at this. This is not the problem. Then I added Christmas, and I'm the type of person. Once those tubs come down, there's just mess. It's like chaos everywhere. So I pulled the Tums down. I start decorating, and the thing is between doing my work online and stuff, taking care of him, running some errands and stuff. I didn't have a ton of time in the evenings to really decorate a ton. So 2-3 days later, I still have all the tubs, and I don't talk about it a lot. I don't think, but the house we're currently renting, because we're going to build a house. The house we're currently renting is literally the smallest house I've ever been in. I know for Mexico standards, it's pretty reasonable. It's a 2-bedroom, but literally our truck, we have a Tundra. It's 18 feet long. Our truck is longer than this house is wide. The entire house is 15 feet wide. I come from Canada. Like my our houses are our houses are big, 1,500, 2,000 square foot houses plus the basement. Like we have big yards. Like we have a lot of space. Canada is a vast land, so I am used to these big. Like I'll put it this way, guys. The entire main floor of this house right now is a little bit bigger than my old bedroom, my old master bedroom. The entire main floor. So this has been quite the shock. This house is packed full of our stuff. Like it is just smushed all in here anyways. So then when I brought all those tubs out, like I literally could barely walk. It was so bad. And so after like 3 days, I was like, okay, it's getting to me. I need to wrap this up. I need to do not getting proper sleep, being up with Chuko, taking him for those pees and stuff. There was a couple nights where people were outside. Somebody's kid at 1:40 in the morning was running down the street screaming. Somebody's toddler. Very odd. So I know, and I could feel that I was getting a little run down. And I even thought, like, I need to take a nap. I need to rest. So I go and I'm like, okay, I need to rest it a little bit. So I took and I go sit on the couch and I'm like, okay, I'll just like put on a cheesy Hallmark Christmas movie and I'll just relax. So I'm sitting there and then I'm like, well, but if I just dust off the coffee table, I just do the coffee table. I'm still sitting. It's fine. As I have to go and get the rag. Then I have to go and get the dusting stuff. Then I have to go and get the like I know better. I knew better, but I still fell into the trap. And this is the thing, the big takeaway is how easy it is for us to convince ourselves to do things, to convince ourselves something's a good idea. Now that was that little old comfort zone, a little stress, that little bit of negativity in there that was like, yeah, do more. You can just do more. Like, you need to pack this mess up. You need to get this done. And of course, I had that. Like, I really did want to get it done so I could put the tubs away, clean up, and actually, like, move around here again. Because we all know clutter causes anxiety and stress. So, clean up your clutter. So, I had allowed myself, I talked myself into just keep doing, but I was only doing a little bit. It's fine. It's not fine. So then, of course, I woke up, just couldn't breathe. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not good. And I had no one to blame but myself. I did this to myself. I did not heed the warnings. I did not listen to my body. I tried to, where it said rest and I went to rest and then I countered it and I just got up and ignored it anyway. So this is one of those things. I really want you to understand how easy it was. Like for me, I know better. I haven't stressed myself into sickness in a really long time. And it wasn't that like I was feeling stressed. It wasn't that normal stress. It was just like, hey, you should get this done. We should get this done. There's other things to do. We want to get to baking. All the extra of Christmas, piled on. And I fell into that trap of like, yeah, if we just do a little bit more, just a little bit more. And this is exactly what I tell my clients and I tell everyone not to do. So that is another point I want to make. I know better. I literally know better. I literally tell everyone else not to do this, and I still fell into the trap. So I want you to understand how easy it is to get caught up in all that. And just one more thing, and just one more thing. And here I am sick. And I know back in my overwhelmed days, I was sick every single Christmas. Every single Christmas without fail, I would get sick because I would do this to myself. And it's funny because I would wonder, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm sick every Christmas. What is happening? Like, right? But that's before I realized that self care, depleting my body, like we know it, but in our overwhelm, we ignore it and we kind of pretend we don't know. We know, we really do. We just don't want to acknowledge it, right? Because it interrupts our doing. So these are all things to really, really be aware of and just know it can sneak up on you. And that's why it's so important. Like when you have these feelings, like first and foremost in our lives, our number one priority, like, yes, we have our family, like spouse, kids, and stuff, but truly our number one priority needs to be our health. And I phrase it like that because people are like, you have to be number one. And people hear and they think it's selfish and they think, oh, I can't do that. That's just blah, blah, blah. But it's not like you have to be number one. It's your health. Your wellness has to be your number one priority. And case in point is, so yesterday, if I would have just taken originally 2 extra hours, maybe taken a nap I knew I should have taken, or at least stayed on the couch, drank some tea, and just rested 2 hours, I probably would have been fine. Instead, I pushed through, I did extra, and now it's like how many days I'm going to have to spend with extra hours of resting because I didn't want to take 2 hours. Now I'm going to be out 10, 12, like who knows, right? Who knows how many hours it's going to take me to get better. And then so think about this. I'm lucky. I just got a little cold. Like it's nothing, right? It's not putting me out. I'm not down. I can't still, cook dinner or take care of the dogs or whatever. I'm still able to do all this. But what if you got a flu? Like what if I had gotten a flu? Like sick in bed, maybe throwing up, like 2 days you're not even getting out of bed just because you didn't want to take 2 hours, right? And this is the point I make a lot when I talk about self-care is you need to be at your best, your healthiest, so you're able to take care of other people, right? Because if you did what I did and now you're out days and now you're out like all the stuff you could have been doing in that time and now you have to recover, right? So it really is like just really think about it, give it honest to God thought, because we tend to, this is from our surviving with anxiety where we don't actually think about things. We kind of hear it, acknowledge it, and we push it away and we don't want to think about it. This is something we need to start thinking about literally everything. When I talk about, getting clarity, don't just push away a conversation because you're mad. Think about the words they're saying. Ask them a question to get clarity. I did a video on this, I want to say last week, getting clarity because my boyfriend and I were like arguing and I was starting to get upset. And then when I got clarity on what he meant by some of the specific words, we were on the same team. We were on the exact same page and we were arguing the same side. We just didn't know it because our words had different meanings for each other. So get that clarity, right? So actually learning to pay attention, take things in and think about them, and really be aware. Listen to our bodies. Be like, oh, I need to take a nap. Again, we kind of hear it, but we don't want to interrupt our doing. We're too busy for that and we push it away. Take it in. Like, okay, I need to take a nap. Okay. Yeah, actually, I do feel a little extra exhausted. Yeah, actually, I haven't been sleeping well due to XYZ, or I've been pushing, or I've been working harder, or putting up Christmas and la la la, right? And taking it in and then actually thinking, how does my body feel? How is my mind feeling? Am I feeling drained mentally? Okay, I need to do something about this. Like we need to stop just hearing and then pushing and not actually taking it in, right? We need to start really paying attention to everything. Yeah, so it's a lot, guys. I just really feel again, not I'm no guru, I'm no be all and end all, but the one thing I will say is I'm very good at managing stress. I'm very good now with, taking things in, getting that bombshell, taking that minute. Okay, can I fix this? What are we going to do about this? And then like flipping it around so I can go with the flow. This is something I've become actually really good at. So when this happened, and here I am sick because I fell into that silly trap again. I was like, oh, dang. Like, I can't believe I did that. Like, that's like amateur for me. Like, what? So I just really want to reiterate how easy it happens. And if you do this and it happens in the future or whatever, and especially if you're like, oh, I just listened to Sonia and she warned me and I did it anyway. It's okay. We're all human. Even though you knew, just let it be that lesson. And again, this is the bread and butter of getting rid of stress, anxiety, the positives and the gratitude. I think like I am really grateful I only got a cold. I got nothing more. I'm still eating. Like I said, I can still do the things I have to. I just need to rest extra. I'm not down and out. I'm so grateful for that. I am grateful that life gave this to me now, taught me this lesson now. Obviously, I needed it, and not at Christmas. I don't want, I've had that where you're trying to cook the big dinner, do the turkey, all the things, and you're just feeling like crap and you're trying to get people's help, but then they're irritating you because and it just turns into this complete mess. Or you're like trying to open gifts and you're just like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like, can I go to bed now? Like, right? Like, it's just terrible. And so I'm really grateful. This happened now, not literally at Christmas, during the Christmas holidays where, we're really trying to do all the extras and really just take it all in. And I think what would be a positive? Well, positive, yeah. It's a very mild cold, extra vitamin C. I know all the things to do. Learn my lesson. And the positive thing is if I can help even a few of you guys avoid this, if this hits home for you and you're like, okay, I'm going to heed the warning, let me take that lesson and you guys can learn from it and you can stay healthy this Christmas season and you can get all the things done and just kill it and enjoy it and do all the things for everyone else because when you get those feelings, you need the extra self-care. You have to treat, and again, it's just caring for yourself. This can be maybe just an extra cup of green tea every day, an extra couple of vitamin C's to boost your immune system, getting to bed 20 minutes early for a little extra sleep. It doesn't have to be 4 hours on the couch watching Netflix, right? It can be just these little extras just to help you, right? So just keep that in mind. Remember, I love, again, pencil to paper, guys. Have that list of things. What helps me? Vitamin C, vitamin D, green tea, a little ginger. What can I make? And I can, can I make some Asian dish and put lots of ginger in it and that'll boost my immune system? Like, what can I do just to help myself out in this busy season? Because let's be real, guys, we're all going to be busier. It's not like we're not going to do Christmas, but it's choosing, how much you choose to do and then making sure because you're adding the busyness to your schedule. So you have to add the counter of self-care also. And again, doesn't have to be time consuming. Remember to go back, make those lists of self-care that gets you the most bang for your buck. Mentally, what gives you the most mental refill for the shortest amount of time? Whether that's a meditation, it's maybe it's reading, going and being in nature, whatever it might be. Everyone has their own things that they love that really fills their tank. Similarly, like physically, what helps you? Is it exercise that really boosts your immune system? Or are you the person that a little extra supplements or ginger and garlic and a green tea really boosts your immune system? Maybe you need to cut out a few carbs, add in a few something else, and that'll just do it for you. Just getting to know yourself and what works really well so you can get the most bang for your buck so you don't have to sacrifice that time, right? Because it's all about gaining more time. So I hope this helps, guys. I know my terrible cold is what it is. I hope you learn from my lesson. I hope you stay healthy and really heed the warnings from your body, from mentally, just whatever those signs are giving you. Don't slough them off. Don't think, oh, this is just life. It's not. It's not a life we're supposed to have. It's a life we've chosen to think is normal, and it's not. Um, yeah, we don't need to be sick for Christmas, guys. That's not how it's supposed to be. We've just, as a society, created a toxic way of living where we just do way too much. The hustle's too much. The more, the bigger, the better. It's just not healthy. So, all right. I hope this helps, guys. I really hope that, like I said, if I can even save a couple of you from getting sick this season, then this video was well worth it. And as always, it is Thursday, which means it's pretty much Friday. So have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, whatever you choose to do. And again, remember that self care. It is so important. Your wellness has to be your number one priority.